Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car, because I had to sell it to pay the lawyer I hired when I got busted for drunk driving. Know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun. And hey, you know what else you don't see? You don't see me leaving for work in the morning, because I missed so much time with court and everything that I got fired.
Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow, and welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, the show tracking inside the trillion-dollar business of sports. We'll talk about holiday gifts that you might not have heard of. We'll talk about Snap, the top issues regarding NFL teams. How about an interview with Scott Hamilton, charitable entrepreneur, cancer survivor, and gold medalist in skating, talking about the industry and all things about it. And the 5 to watch. Who's in college football's playoff? Major League Baseball reaches an agreement. How's Patrick Kane doing? How many teams in Vegas? What about Adidas? A whole lot of issues coming up on Beyond the Scoreboard. I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow. Teach a sports business, sports law class at Harvard. Do a lot of business deals around the world. Getting inside the trillion-dollar business of sports. Listen for us on iTunes. Look for us on Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom. We have a great show for you today.
Beyond the Scoreboard, Stories of the Week. Here's number 5.
After significant recent developments as part of a plan to move the Oakland Raiders to Vegas, the franchise may not leave town at all. The Oakland City Council and the Alameda County Board of Supervisors considering a proposal that would see the city and county jointly put up $200 million to upgrade infrastructure at Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum with the hope of keeping the Raiders there. The sum of money would eventually be repaid from revenue generated from the stadium project. In order to make this feasible, 125 acres would be lent to Oakland City Pro Football Group from the city and county. 90 of those would be used to build a new 55 to 58,000 seat stadium. In exchange for providing the team these resources, the city and county would share some percentage of non-football revenues at the stadium, plus new taxes generated by new commercial development. And here's my take. The Raider Stadium situation changes minute by minute. As with the Chargers, there's always a last-minute effort to keep the team in its respective market before the possibility of relocation. This appears to be no different. This plan seems to be a meaningful opportunity to actually put a deal together and avoid relocation.
Number 4.
With Adidas' 11-year, $400 million NBA uniform partnership set to expire at the end of the season, the German-based sportswear company shifting its basketball strategy. Adidas now banking on signing top rookies, luring them in with multi-million-dollar deals. And just this past year, they signed 6 of the top 10 draft picks. Los Angeles Lakers' Brandon Ingram, most notably. His deal is valued at $2 million per year for 5 years, but a series of bonus triggers can increase the value of the deal if he's selected for the Rising Stars Challenge, makes the playoffs, or is named to the All-Star Game roster. In addition to Adidas' renewed focus on players, there's no underestimating the influence of its celebrity partnerships with Kanye West and Pharrell Williams. When guys first hear about an Adidas contract, that's the first thing they bring you, the Yeezys. He has a big impact on Adidas, noted Ingram. Here's my take. Sports retailers continue to joust for market share, providing significant revenues for teams, leagues, and players, as well as agents over time. Look for Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour to continue to compete in this prime sports battlefield. And that's number 4.
Number 3.
Chicago Blackhawks winger Patrick Kane back on track to repair his public image after a whirlwind of off-season issues last year, a year that was plagued with sexual assault charges and other off-ice issues. Kane has recently appeared in commercials for Chevy and hockey equipment brand Bauer, as well as Gatorade and Upper Deck. He abandoned social media for 8 months after the allegations surfaced in Buffalo last year, generally avoided media attention, and was absent from ads. The reigning NHL MVP nearing a full-image comeback, which will definitely deepen his pockets as sponsors now come clamoring back to sign the electric player. Here's my take. He was set to be on the cover of EA Sports NHL 2016 with Jonathan Toews after helping the Blackhawks to a Stanley Cup victory, but he was removed when the allegations surfaced. He finished 6th in the 2015 Horror Sports Ventures Power 100 off-field, on-field performance metric, and he's been a key cornerstone for the Blackhawks, both on and off the ice.
Number 2.
MLB and the Players Association reached that agreement on a new CBA just before midnight deadline, preventing a lockout in some context. It probably would have never happened, but the new CBA is set for 5 years and effectively extends labor peace between the two sides for nearly 30. Upon ratification by both parties, the luxury tax threshold, who had been at $189 million since 2014, will shift to $195 million next season and rise steadily to $210 million by 2021, with heightened tax rates for both first and repeat offenders. Another huge change under the new CBA is that the league that wins the All-Star game no longer gets home field advantage in the World Series. The rule historically been unique when compared to how other pro sports leagues operate, as home field now will go to the pennant winner with the better regular season record. And here's my obvious take. MLB adding a number of additional years to significant labor peace adds major value to the franchises over time.
Number 1.
College Football Playoff Selection Committee went with conventional thought for its top 4 teams in Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Washington, respectively. Now, bowl committees around the country have locked in their pairings for college football's postseason. This year's angriest fan base left out in the cold may be Penn State, shut out of the playoff after winning the Big Ten Conference Championship and a resounding regular season win over Ohio State. Regardless, the 12 committee members can make a strong argument for each of their picks. And let's face it, we're never going to get out of the CFP playoff without some controversy as long as the field is a very short 4 teams. The current configuration has conference commissioners like Big 12's Bob Bowlesby questioning the conference selection committee's insistence that the 13th data point, winning a conference championship, was of utmost importance after Ohio State got in without that win, along with strength of schedule, where Washington clearly fell short. Now, get your popcorn ready for December 17 when college football's postseason kicks off in New Mexico at 2 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait, and here's my final take on that. Another lingering controversy this year, 41 games, including the championship. Has the current bowl slate replaced reward with mediocrity? More to come on that in the next coming weeks. And that's my 5 to watch, business, legal, marketing issues, 5 to 1. Time for quick hits off the beaten track in the last couple of weeks. Problems persist in Rio, the NFL being investigated, and one tennis star shines the brightest. Insurance companies will determine if the NFL knew about the dangers of concussions and intentionally kept that information from players. More than 5,000 retired NFL players have accused the league of not disclosing pertinent concussion-related information. The 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio came and went in their fair share of problems, but residual effects still linger. Months after the games finished, hundreds of workers still haven't been paid, planning to sue the local organizing committee to get their money. And Forbes just ranked the top 10 most valuable sports businesses, teams, athletes, brands, and events. And atop the athlete brand value list, $36 million, Roger Federer. MLB could be expanding, the Chargers on the move, and so are the Pistons. MLB finishes the CBA international draft not on the table, but Commissioner Rob Manfred points to the priority of having international players for harmony of the game. San Diego residents voted down 2 ballot measures that could have brought a combined convention center and annex and Charger Stadium to the downtown area. Chargers chair Dean Spanos potentially moves the team to L.A., Oakland, Vegas, or maybe even San Antonio, decision made in the next couple of months. And despite being $105 million over budget, the Pistons hope their new arena can hold major basketball events, concert tours, political conventions, and other games as well. There you have it, off the beaten track. And there you have it, quick hits off the beaten track. There you have it, quick hits off the beaten track. Now it's time for Snap, the top 5 off-field issues regarding teams around the NFL, 5 to 1. First, New York Jets. And cornerback Darrelle Revis suing his former agents for allegedly raising their commission fee on an endorsement deal without his consent. Neil Schwartz, Jonathan Feinsod being accused of fraud, conversion, breach of fiduciary duty, and civil theft. That's a lot. Rivas claims they had a clause in an energy drink endorsement deal that would raise their fee from 10 to 50%. Schwartz last year asked Rivas to sign off on an addendum to their original agreement, but the suit alleges Schwartz never explained the document or gave Rivas a copy to read. The suit also accuses Schwartz and Feinsod of secretly using money from Rivas' endorsement checks to pay another attorney. Rivas fired both agents last May. That's number 5. Number 4, Kansas City and Minnesota. It involves the Vikings last week and the Chiefs this week. The NFL Color Rush uniforms worn on Thursday nights, and 100% of the NFL's revenue from the sale of Color Rush jerseys goes directly to NFL Foundation to fund health, safety, and wellness programs for youth. The NFL Foundation, the league's nonprofit organization, comprising all 32 clubs, and funds grants support to athletes, youth football, and the communities. That's number 4. Number 3, Los Angeles Rams. Eric Dickerson, always welcome on the sideline, says COO Kevin Demoff, who tweeted reassurance at Hall of Fame running back on Monday, shortly after Dickerson claimed he was no longer allowed on the sideline due to his criticism of the team. Demoff said he reached out to Dickerson to find out how any miscommunication could have occurred. The executive insisted Dickerson is a, quote, valued member of the Rams family. Number 2, Green Bay Packers. Packers defensive tackle Mike Pennell filed a lawsuit against NFL and NFLPA folks, asking for a court order appointing a neutral arbitrator in the league's ongoing disciplinary action against him. Pennell also asked for an injunction preventing a disciplinary arbitration from going forward in a lawsuit filed in the Cleveland federal court. Pennell argues that the arbitration violates the collectively bargained NFL policy and program on substances and abuse because only 2 arbitrators are assigned to the hearing instead of the maximum 3 as required under the policy. Packers want to get this behind them, and that's number 2. Finally, number 1, and the controversy involves 2 places, the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Kansas City Chiefs kicker Cairo Santos is from Brazil, and his thoughts of home were tinged with grief when he learned of the plane crash that killed 71 people on the charter flight of the Brazilian soccer team involved in a game the next day. A devastating day for Brazil and the world, really, he said. His eyes glazed over as he spoke of both the loss and the beautiful gesture of Colombia's Atlético Nacional team to award a game based on sportsmanship. The Patriots are on the other side of this. They're critical of former NFL executive Joe Brown, who posted on Twitter, NFL club partnership so strong that if there were a tragedy similar to the Brazilian soccer team crash, other NFL clubs would restock the affected team. The Patriots responded shortly thereafter, saying, poor choice of words and disrespectful to all who lost lives. Players aren't stock. They're the most important people in the NFL. That snap, off-field issues around the NFL, 5-1. And now my final take. What's trending around the holiday season? Giving a live event experience. Well, you tune into the podcast, you want to know more about sports. But how about gift ideas? It's only a couple weeks away, and you better be thinking about it, or you're in deep trouble. And as we find ourselves in the holiday season and the gift card business booming, companies seeing shoppers looking to create memories that last longer than just the day on which they receive their gift. In a recent study issued by StubHub and Consumer Insights from Trendera, research shows that live event experiences have a deeply meaningful impact on people's emotions and memories. And sharing live experiences with friends, in person as well as on social media, is a true trend. In the study, 75% of the respondents would prefer to give someone an unforgettable experience over a nice gift, and live events were among the top 3 best gifts to be given and received. This preference to give and receive an experience is reflected in StubHub's gift card business this holiday season, with promotions and new offerings, including exclusive Super Bowl packages, which is up year over year. From Thanksgiving through Cyber Weekend, live event ticket marketplace experienced a 25% growth compared to the same week last year. The company is the world's largest ticket marketplace with tens of thousands of live events to gift, from sports to music and theater. And here's my take on this. As people around the world are placing premiums on live events and participating more and more in the so-called experience economy, StubHub finds itself in the center of this movement, wherein they're uniquely positioned to connect people everywhere, anytime, with access to an inspiring event experience and a lasting memory, which just might be what's on your holiday list this season. And you didn't think I'd give you some practical answers? Well, you're wrong. That's our show for today, folks. Subscribe to our iTunes feed. Look for us on Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom. Big week this week, and I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Won't you join us next week when we go Beyond the Scoreboard?